Hi, we're When Rivers Meet,
and this is the Blues Podcast.
Hi, this is Big Boy Bloater. You're tuned in to the Blues Podcast. I hope you're very, very well. I've got to say, I'm very well today because I have got the honour of talking to a fantastic band named When Rivers Meet. Hello, guys.
How you doing?
We're
good, mate.
Yeah,
how are you?
Oh, I'm all right. I'm a little bit chilly, but I'm all right. Yeah, holding up too bad. Now I've got to say, we've got two people here today. So it's not very. That's quite an unusual thing for us on the Blues Podcast. I can't remember the last time. I had a threesome. Blimey. Anyway, I've got Grace and Aaron here with me anyway from When Rivers Meet. So yeah, it's very nice to meet you guys.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Awesome.
Now, I wanted to start off by, I want to know where the name comes from, because I've got a theory, but you tell me where you got the name When Rivers Meet, and then I'll tell you what I thought it was, and we can all have a big...
Well, before we got married, we were literally called Holmes and Bond. Grace's maiden name was Holmes, and obviously my name's Bond. And when we got together, when we got married, it was a case of, well, we can't be Bond and Bond now because that just sounds like some sort of building firm or sticky substance or something. So we thought we need something, something a little bit more, I don't know, that says something about us.
So I don't know what the hell it does say.
No, I don't know. And then, but we was in Sardinia, weren't we? And we were just overlooking where two rivers meet.
And we've been trying to come up with a name for ages.
So that was it. It was like, When Rivers Meet. When Rivers Meet is when the music happens. That's kind of that's kind of it.
So we don't know. It's not really got a lot of meaning, to be fair.
Apart from that.
It sounds terribly poetic or something like that. I mean, I thought I had this whole scenario in mind. I thought it was a little bit like Heart to Heart, which was a terrible program from the 1970s. It was about Jonathan and Jennifer Hart, who the tagline at the beginning was, when they met, it was murder. And they used to tell them murder every week. I thought it was something like that. I thought you were both called Hart before you got married or something. You met, and it was like, I
think we might use that story in future.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So there you go. I
fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh well, use that one. Use that. Put it out in the PR. That'll be great. So listen, as people might have worked out from what you were just saying, you guys are married, right? So how long have you been married? And were you were in a band together before you were married? Did you meet through music, or did you meet first and then get into music afterwards? That's a lot of questions there. I'll let you answer them all.
So
we've been married 5 years, haven't we?
Yeah, 6
years. Coming up for 6, yeah.
But we've been together for a long time before that. We've been together for like 16 years or something. Yeah. So, but we met in a pub. I was a barmaid. I went to work in Aaron's town, and before we live in Essex now, but I used to live in Cambridgeshire, and Aaron was in Norfolk. Yeah. And I went over the border and worked in Norfolk in a pub.
So she had a passport.
And and met Aaron, and that was.
I just happened to walk in on a Friday night, and there she was behind the bar. And
Aaron's really bad at like chat up lines and that sort of thing.
Rubbish.
So it was like, all right, mate, did you want to go out for a pint, mate? So that was the first date. Took me to a darts.
Full presentation night,
right?
To be fair, it did. So it was, and then I was playing in like a Meatloaf tribute band when we met, I think.
Yeah, and I was in a couple of rock bands. And
so just it took years before we started playing music together. I don't know why. But
well, we just thought maybe we should do these things together, kind of thing. Yeah.
And then we were sort of flapping around, sort of learning how to write together.
Yeah.
Which took a really long time because we used to argue a lot.
Yeah.
And then we sort of worked out we have to basically write separately and then come together. That's how we do it. And then so it's only the last couple of years that we've been really serious and like quit our day jobs and went for it.
Well, we got a VW camper, VW van, and we converted it ourselves into a camper.
So we couldn't afford hotels, so we thought
we just crash in the van at night times. Yeah.
And how did that work out for you? All right, was it? Or
I love it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Awesome. I mean, we haven't done it for a year, didn't we? So but I mean, it's really cool.
Oh, it was really cool. We were like literally sleeping with Aaron's guitars because we had no room for anything. But it was good though. It was really good.
It's really cool.
and no bathroom suite either, I guess.
No, organic on that front.
The windows are open.
Yeah, it's all right for you.
Yeah.
Less said about that, the better, I think.
Yeah.
So was it like you say you guys quit your jobs and sort of put everything in there? Was that a conscious decision, or was one of you get the sack anyway and you thought, well,
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
We quit. We done
we
the whole.
quit our jobs. That was it.
Yeah,
That's it. We're not doing it anymore.
We'd been trying to, like a lot of people, like do music as well as doing a full-time day job, and it wasn't. We just weren't getting anywhere with music. No. It was like it was just feeling like we were getting stuck because we couldn't go for it. We couldn't travel and do gigs.
And I was doing shift
films.
work and all that as well, so it was just too difficult, wasn't it?
Sorry, what work? What was it?
Shift work.
Oh,
I was doing.
Sorry,
well, that as well.
That as well, yeah. And it was just too difficult to do, wasn't it? You couldn't ever put any time into it.
We couldn't get our heads into it properly, and we knew this is what we wanted to be doing. So, we just took the plunge. But I've forgotten what your question was. Sorry.
So when was that exactly? When was that? That was 2019, was it?
Start of.
Okay, so you had a fairly good year, and then bam, 2020 comes along.
That's it,
and sticks a spanner in the old thing.
Exactly, and when it all hit off, we were supposed to be playing in Scotland, so
that weekend.
tour in Scotland, that would have been great. But,
no, it's just the same as everyone else. Just knocked all the gigs, and we had more gigs than ever lined up. So you know the feeling. It's,
I was on tour at the time when they made the announcement, and it said everybody's got your lockdown. So it was like, I was 3 gigs into a tour, and it was like, oh man.
Oh no.
But there you go. These things happen, don't they? So
for sure.
But I wanted to ask, being a husband and wife team and just working at home, and you're a duo essentially. In the lockdown, was that to an advantage a little bit maybe? Because, so many bands couldn't perform together, couldn't get together because of lockdown, but you guys, you're basically locked in together. So did that make it a more sort of productive time for you?
I think so, yeah, definitely. There's one of the advantages, I think, of being a duo and being together is a case of we could do that together, couldn't we?
And even, like you say, like with the live streams, we've been able to do the live streams and it's so much easier than having just like being on your own, not doing a live stream.
That's got to be hard.
We talk to each other.
Yeah.
So that's
we bounce off each other, as you can probably tell.
We can nag forever. So that's definitely made it easier. And also, because just the technical side of being a duo, like we just put the iPhone up and we go for it. Whereas if you've got like a kit and it's a whole different realm, isn't it? When you have to start getting all your sound right. And
absolutely.
We've been lucky. We've just been able to avoid that and put our iPhone up and just stream live and go for it.
Right. Yeah. So. Yeah. And have you found like you've been bringing in more fans? I know a lot of people have been desperate for stuff during lockdown. So has that helped with the numbers as well and stuff?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. We're so lucky in the fact that we've now streamed to over 100 different countries. People joining
500,000 views on the live streams.
It's just crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. When you look at what we'd have done playing live, as much as we'd have preferred it and everyone else would have done, we've reached a much bigger audience. For sure. So it's been a silver lining.
I see that. You guys are a duo, so I want to talk a little bit about the recording and the songwriting a little bit later on. But while we're talking about touring, you were planning on bringing on a 3-piece as well to augment what you do, kind of thing. So how was that going to work out? Do you think that was going to change your sound particularly, or the feel of stuff, or was it just, kind of?
Yeah, no, I don't think. It would make it a little bit bigger, obviously, like with the bass and the drums for sure. But I don't think it's going to change the sound too much. I play a kick drum anyway, but it's only just like a one boom 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 sort of thing. So with a drum kit, it's just it's be great.
I think as well we had this when we were recording because the album we've just done has got more production on. It's got a lot more organ and stuff on than our EPs, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, we had emailing us saying, like, are you doing the right thing with this? Because you sound, we like you as you are. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Right. You'll get lost in the mix, sort of thing." Yeah. And so we were really worried about it, and but luckily it's now almost turned the other way around, and on the live streams we're like, oh my god, we need a kit, oh my god, and you can fit, it just feels so thin now, so it's a total no-brainer. Like we've got to have a backing band.
And the thing is with it as well, with the recordings that we've done on the album and the EPs, is literally just me on the guitar, Grace on mandolin and fiddle and both singing, a kick drum, a bass, and a little bit of keys here and there, and that's it. So
kick drum.
Sorry, kit. Sorry, did I say kick drum?
Obsessed with a kick drum.
I am. Yeah, it's just right here in front of me.
So, I mean, that's the recording. I mean, I was going to ask about the recording process because the recordings sound great. You know, like I say, I've been playing on a radio show and stuff like that, and I absolutely love it. Big sound, nice sound. It's great. So, are you doing all that? You're playing everything yourselves. Do you get other people in to do bits and pieces?
We're really lucky because Adam, our producer, he's a great drummer and a great bassist, and he also plays keys. So when we went in the studio, we pretty much done the whole album between the three of us.
Yeah.
We brought in Rob in as well, just because Ads needed. Well, to start with, we kind of needed someone to like help press record and stuff now and again. It was quite a lot for him to do.
Whilst he was playing, yeah.
And then
yeah, exactly, yeah.
And then Robin also ended up. He plays keys and bass as well. So it was just like quite collaborative. Oh, and on a lot of the songs, it's like one line is Adam, one line is Robin. Like, where they were like, "Oh, I can't get that bit right, mate. Can you ever go?"
Yeah.
So it was really. Yeah. Adam was such a great find in that you know we were a duo and we needed to be padded out massively, and Adam kind of is our little one-man backing band on the album, basically.
Are all producers called Adam? This is what I want to know. They seem to be. All the producers I know are called Adam.
So. All the good ones.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't go as far as that. Let's not get carried away here. They'll be wanting money.
Yeah, it's been a fiver for saying that.
Yeah.
Seems very reasonable. Yeah. Reasonable indeed. So how's the recording affected now? Because I mean, lockdown. We've been through lockdown and another lockdown, and then we're into another lockdown. 2020. That obviously must. I know you did all your live streams and stuff like that, but it must have affected the recording.
Yeah, it did. I mean, when the first lockdown finished and things opened up again, that's when we went back in the studio. Obviously, social distanced, but we managed to do it then, and in that gap, didn't we? So,
yeah, we were a couple of months later than planned. We'd already booked to go in. But it was, and we were supposed to have somebody else there as well. He couldn't make it because his family and stuff with COVID, but that's why we ended up just being the three of us. We were then pretty adamant that we wanted to get the album out last year because we were already planning for the next album this year to come out later in the year. So we didn't want it to roll on. So it was a massive squeeze trying to get it out and ready in time. But it was good because otherwise we'd have just been there for like 5 years finishing it.
It's good to have a deadline sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
they always say about filmmakers. They always say films are never finished; they're just abandoned. I think it's very similar with records. I mean, when I've made albums, you know, I could carry on tweaking. I go back listening a few years back later, and I think, oh, you know, I wish I'd done that. I could just go back in now and change it and all that. But no, you just got to leave it and walk away, haven't you?
Yeah.
So, I was thinking an album is like a little snapshot of your life, exactly how it was then, and that's exactly where you were.
That's a nice way of thinking.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So it's almost like a photograph, isn't it? So I want to talk to you a little bit about the music, because how do you describe it? I mean, to me, it's sort of rootsy, bluesy. There's some rock in there. There's some stuff in there. I mean, the mandolin is an interesting instrument. You don't see it a lot in rock music these days, do you? What's your guys' take on what you do? How would you describe it?
I would describe it as like classic rock fusion with blues. Yeah, kind of thing, really.
Just rootsy, rocky, and then
when you look at our influences, like classic rock, like Bad Company, and things like that, and also my very first CD that I ever got was John Lee Hooker. So, just riffs. I love riffs.
Bonnie Raitt. Yeah. I mean, so we love all those things. Whether they come across in the music, I don't know. But
that's how we see it.
Yeah, that's how we would like to see it.
Yeah.
Grace, how did you get into playing mandolin? Because it's not something that's like forced into kids' hands at school now these days, is it? It's like you learn to play guitar or keyboard or drums or something. But mandolin, fiddle, a little bit maybe. But yeah, mandolin's an interesting one. Yeah,
I've always been a bit of a serial musical instrument buyer. Like I will buy
She's a pick it up and play it kind of person.
So it started out with piano at 4 and then went through the whole woodwind, like flute, clarinet, saxophone, get an obsession with each different thing, piccolo, go through the whole thing at school. And then when I came out
at one point,
cello.
Cello.
And then I got the mandolin we got off of my mate, who was selling one, and it was really cute. It was like a little crafter looking red one. Yeah. I liked it because it was a nice colour, and then I really like playing it because it makes more sense to me than anything else because it's tuned to fifths and much easier than the guitar because that's just confusing. And then, of course, the violin is the same as a mandolin but played up here. Yeah. So that was how, And I've kind of stuck with them now. I don't even. I found I'm going to stick. Yeah. For now.
Stick for now. Yeah.
It's like you've arrived home.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, and the instruments just totally suit her, how she plays and what she plays and how she feels when she plays as well. So, yeah, love it.
Yeah, I like them.
I was watching the videos earlier and seeing the mandolin you got in some of those videos, that kind of metal-bodied mandolin. I mean, that's quite an amazing instrument. I didn't know that sort of thing was even out there.
No, it's pretty cool. It's the only one I've seen in person. I dropped it at a gig. I'm just looking at the massive dent in the side of it. Literally fell right off the stage. Yeah. It's cool. It's
I mean, the good thing is because it's a resonator, because you've got another one as well, a wooden one up there, and it doesn't have the same effect, that edge for the blues kind of rock feel, so the resonator side of it really helps.
So that just cut through a little bit better, do you think?
Definitely. I play it with the slide as well, so that gives it even more.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not. There's not many mandolin players, and I don't think there's many slide mandolin players, is there?
No.
Made that up.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually got it because I got that mandolin, and the action is so high on it. I was like, I'm gonna have to tweak it all, or and then I found my slide, and I was like, oh my god, this sounds really cool.
Brilliant.
So and I was like, I'll do that then.
That's our sound.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. When you saying about dropping it earlier, I always think that's just character. Like, an instrument needs a few kind of battle scars. I always think. I often see people with these pristine, beautiful instruments, and it just, to me, I think you haven't played that. Like it's sat in a glass case, and I always think that's sacrilegious for an instrument. It should be played and enjoyed, and
definitely
almost abused, but not quite.
Not quite dropped.
That's better. I want to ask you a bit. Like I say, I was talking, watching the videos this morning that you guys have got on your website and on YouTube and all that. I sort of saw a theme through the videos of outdoor countrysideness. Is that around where you live, or are they all different but just look very similar?
It's probably all fairly near to where we live.
Yeah,
it's probably iPhone filming always looks better in daylight, so that's some of it. Also, a couple of those videos that the last one was like a bit of a COVID socially distanced gem on the railway.
Yeah, it was.
So that was another outside job.
Yeah.
We're pretty lucky. We're right by the coast, so it is really nice around here.
Yeah. It looked lovely, I've got to say.
Yeah.
So, are you working on videos yourself? You just sort of put them together, iPhone, sort of guerrilla shooting, all that kind of thing?
Yeah, mostly. I mean, we do have someone else that for the last two videos shot them, Terry Crouch. One big idea, isn't it?
Yeah, we done like Freeman, but it was quite difficult because we filmed each other and then we had to do the tripod thing because we didn't have anyone to film it for us. So that was cool. They've worked, but it was really nice to have Terry because he's much better at it. So
and they've got
he
nicer
helps
cameras.
us out now. He's got a decent camera. So
That always helps. And get yourself a friend with a decent camera. That's
absolutely.
If you're in a band, definitely. Just like Adam. Yeah. So also, I want to talk about the records because your album came out. When was that? Last
November.
November, was it? I was going to say October. I was close. A good time to release an album, do you think, during a lockdown, pandemic, worldwide kind of thing, or was it? Did it play to your favour?
Yeah, don't know. Not sure really. I mean, we just wanted to get it out this year, didn't we? So I mean,
we weren't really. Nothing was releasing it. Of course, obviously, you can't tour with the album.
Yeah,
but we expected that, so it's been okay.
Oh, that's good news. That's good news. Let's go back to. I wanted to ask you when we were talking about touring a little while ago. Touring plans. Did you have any European plans for touring, and have they changed now thanks to the wonderful idea of Brexit?
Yeah, I mean, we were supposed to be playing in France this year. Obviously, that's had to be knocked on the head because we don't know what's going to happen, like with visas and all these other than COVID, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's made things 10 times more
and
complicated.
we were planning to go to America this year.
Yeah.
But because of COVID anyway, you know, and that Brexit, obviously that's something to do with it. But even like merch, there's stuff to work out of making sure that we're not breaking any rules. You know, there's a lot to it.
There's a hell of a lot to it. Yeah.
Of like, having to have the right HS code for your CDs if you send them. You know, it's just different things to. Again, it's like we were saying. It's just when we're self-releasing, so it's all these bits and pieces you just got to work out, which is all right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't really a good idea, Brexit, was it? What are you going to do? Hey, we've done it now. Is there anywhere around the world that you guys haven't been yet that you really wanted to go?
Australia. Do you want to go to Australia?
Go to Australia.
Yeah, Australia would be cool.
Yeah, we really want to go to Australia.
Yeah.
But I mean, we just can't wait to just travel anywhere. Yeah. Like Germany as well.
Germany, Canada, America for sure.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go to Scandinavia as well. So
literally, we want to go over it. But short of that, we really liked playing at Deer and Blues Festival in Norfolk.
Yeah, Norfolk.
So
That's really cool. That was awesome.
It's nice and local, at least. Yeah,
exactly.
You'd probably be safe to cross the border into Norfolk again, I think. And
hopefully soon.
Have you guys got any plans to collaborate songwriting wise with other people? Because I mean, obviously at the moment it's the two of you sort of bouncing off each other. Do you think adding a third person in would just make it even more complicated, or do you think having a third influence in there might just expand stuff more?
I don't know, really. I mean, we're quite happy sort of writing together, aren't we? I mean, we've not really thought about collaborating.
To be fair, like we don't work very well with people. As in, like, we love like working with Adam, he's great. But then like we find people we like working with, and then we're like, no, we can do it. Just keep it, amongst us. Because I suppose it's feeling comfortable with people, and you've got to feel comfortable when you're creating music, haven't you? Because otherwise you can't be open and like throw ideas out and feel comfortable about that.
Yeah, totally.
So we did co-write with Adam, just we were messing around one night. We wrote something with Adam, which was really cool. Yeah. And like you say, it definitely threw in a different element and different ideas to what we would have come up with.
I think also the fact that we kind of like the style that we write now, and we don't really want to change that in any way. And I think if you brought someone else in, their influence might change.
But we don't want to be sticking the mud.
But we don't want to be sticking the mud, so we're not saying, we don't know.
We don't know, yeah.
It's a long answer to a very short.
I just wondered if you ever, were tempted to collaborate, or if even thought, I just need some new ideas. Let's just get someone else in this. It's an interesting thing. I mean, I've never really done the collaboration thing much because I'm a bit like you. I've sort of know where I want to go with these things. So adding another person into the mix sometimes can just be, it's just someone else to convince that you're right, isn't it? So,
exactly.
Yeah. Let's go back. I want to talk to each of you individually a little bit now about how you got into music in the first place. I know we heard about the what was it, tribute bands? Grace?
Tribute band.
Yeah.
Right. So
awesome.
let's talk about when Grace first got into music. How, what inspired you to get into music in the first place, and what were you thinking getting into a Meatloaf tribute?
Oh, it was so cool. It was awesome. I loved it.
It was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been obsessed with music, right from like 4 piano, and then which was more like mum go play piano, to me and my sister, because she always could play Knees Up Mother Brown, and I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts, and always wanted us to do a bit more. So she's in London, obviously.
Start. Yeah.
So, and then always been obsessed with music and singing, more than anything. I love instruments, but singing it's just been my passion my whole life. And I think my first gig was when I was 11, which I joined my saxophone teacher at the time. He had a function band, so I went and fronted that when I was 11, playing different functions and stuff. Yeah, so ended up in the Meatloaf tribute band, which is when we met. I think then I was
we met way before that.
Did we?
Yeah. You was in a country band before that.
Oh yeah, I was in a country band.
You was in a country band when
I had a blues band.
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
the Gridiron something they were called, weren't they?
Something like
so
that.
Just loads of different projects. But
she was in about 5 or 6, 7 bands or something like that.
Yeah, from when we met.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so the Meatloaf tribute thing, that was cool.
Yeah, it was really
we
cool.
played like
massive band.
Yeah, it's a great big like 15-piece band or something silly, and we done like big bike shows. And I used to do because it was Steve's. I always say Steve Steinman, Jim Steinman tribute as well. So I used to get the Bonnie Tyler songs, like Total Eclipse of the Heart, and it was amazing. I loved it.
That was great. Yeah,
that was fun. Some levers.
Do you remember what the very first song was that you sung?
Sung like ever?
Yeah, like ever. Like, well, let's, in public.
In a band.
Yeah.
In a band.
Ooh.
Probably a country song.
I reckon it. I used to. Oh no, it'd be like originally. I loved soul. I loved like Dusty Springfield. I loved Dusty Springfield, Randy Crawford, and then like went on to all the Aretha Franklin and the greats. But probably it would be like You Don't Have to Say You Love Me or something like that. Or I Just Don't Know What to Do with Myself. I loved all them Dusty Springfield songs. Yeah,
they're great classics, aren't they? Yeah, I love them too. Great classics. Do you ever find when you're doing a bit of songwriting that a bit of the old Meatloaf starts coming out in the influences there, and you think, that's Meatloaf, can't use that. Do you find it's still influencing your work now, or
I reckon it does a
left
bit
behind?
Yeah. Probably does a little bit, yeah. It's probably a little bit of sneaking into a song now and again, I reckon. But I mean, it's even thinking of like Paradise by the Dashboard, like those 8-minute songs that we've never met. We're like 3-minute wonders. We are when it comes to songwriting. But they're such great. The songwriting is so incredible.
Yeah.
No, I'd like to think that it inspires one way or another, even if it's conscious or not.
Yeah. So you don't fancy taking on a sort of rock opera type sort of song at any point?
I say
3 or 4 minutes.
3 minutes is a struggle for us. So.
3 minutes is enough.
I'm absolutely with you there. I think 3 or 4 minutes is absolutely long enough for any song. If you can't say it within 3 or 4 minutes, you probably shouldn't be saying it. That's why. It takes all sorts, doesn't it?
Unless you're Freddie Mercury, then you can go on as long as you like. As I say.
yeah. Like I say, if you've got something to say, you really say, I can live with that. I definitely agree with that. But I think for the likes of myself, definitely can't beat a bit of 3-minute song. And the thing that really drives me around the bend, and I probably shouldn't be saying this on the Blues podcast, but hey, I'm going to say it anyway. Really long guitar solos. They just bore me. Tedious. It's tedious. If a song is like 2 minutes long and then it's got an 8-minute guitar solo in it, that's an instant turn off for me. Literally, I will turn off the song. I was just no, can't stand it. So I'm glad to hear you guys say that. It's 3 or 4 minutes is like.
Yeah. I mean, for us, like you say, we're. Everyone each to their own. It's not for us the big long solo thing, and it doesn't work for us. We like you say, we like to keep the songs pretty compact.
Yeah.
So
yeah. As just quickly talk a little bit about the blues before I get around to talk to Aaron about his influences. Do you think it's a generational thing? I mean, obviously blues has been kicking around for a very long time. It's gone through a lot of changes and all that. I guess through the 1970s and all that kind of, when you had your Rory Gallagher's and all that, it was very much about the guitar solo. Do you think it's just kids these days have got a short attention span and they just don't want those long guitar solos? Or is it just we've moved on from that? How do you think that's?
I think it's just things just change all the time, don't they? I mean, our songs are more about the vocals and things like that, really, aren't they? And the whole thing
we sort of see ourselves more as like vocal led rather than we saw Ben Paul last year at a gig we were playing at, and he was doing really long sets, but he was amazing. So even though we don't dig it, like when we saw him, we were like we
great,
loved
but
it.
That's not us.
So it's just not us. And I think and even like loads of different bands, more prog rock bands who go more solo stuff. It's cool. It's just not our vibe. We we just sort of keep everything a bit shorter. It always goes through phases in music, doesn't it?
Prog's not for me either. It's too much. The only bit I like about prog really is the capes. I quite like the capes and some of the boots and all that. I'd have a cape definitely, but all those long solos, no, it's not for me. I'm pleased to hear you say that. I mean, it's you just nailed it on the head for me a second ago. I think you said your songs are much more about the vocal. I think there's a lot of stuff in blues these days where it's not about the story of the song. It's just the song is kind of almost like just a vehicle for the guitar solo or the keyboard solo or whatever. And I think for me, it's much more interesting to have a song that's, about the vocal and the story you're telling. Like, it's you just can't tell that same story with a guitar. I don't care who you are and how long your guitar solo is. That's what I think. Anyway, enough of me rambling on about it, because I've probably just upset everybody in the blues community there. I didn't do it on purpose, guys. I mean, I love you really. So let's talk to Aaron a little bit. Aaron, I want to know where you got started and what drew you into the music business in the first place. Was it money or girls?
Yeah. Well,
be careful. Yeah, be careful.
No, I think what it was I've always loved music. I've always was singing in my bedroom and stuff like that when I was a kid growing up, and
being told to shut up by
my dad. Say, shut up, boy. Say, all right. Yeah, and then a mate of mine was putting a band together back when we were sort of 16, and he said, do you fancy coming and being the front man? I was like, yeah, all right. So we done it, and we entered Battle of the Bands and won that, which was cool. And it just went from there. Really went into a couple of other rock bands, and then
you've always been massive, like Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, I mean, I love rock music and I love blues music. So yeah, that's what got me going.
And when they met, it was murder. Yeah. So Aaron, your first song. Do you remember what you probably remember your first kiss and like your first, I don't know, something, a motorbike rider or something. But do you remember your first song?
The first song I performed live in front of an audience was a Megadeth song, and Symphony of Destruction. That was the very first song. Yeah.
And where was that?
That was in King's Lynn. That was in King's Lynn.
The field.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're saying your dad used to shout things like "shut up" and stop that noise and all that sort of thing. Did you get a lot of support from him? He seems like a charming fellow.
Yeah.
Yes, he was really supportive. He was really helpful.
Yeah.
And we'll move on, shall we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So let's talk about the future a little bit. What would be the number one sort of dream gig or recording situation for you guys at this point where we are now?
Dream gig. Well,
but dream gig.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That.
Oh, keeps changing, but it keeps growing. This is what happens. So it was O'Meara in London. I was like, O'Meara, want to do O'Meara? And then we had O'Meara booked with Els Bailey. That got cancelled. Yeah. So then I moved on to the Garage because it's bigger, and I was like, we could do the Garage. Now I'm on Shepherd's Bush Empire. This is now where I'm at.
This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my.
I was quite happy with Dereham in Norfolk.
I've played the Garage, and I've played Shepherd's Bush Empire as well. I've got to say,
nice.
They're they look lovely out front, but round back they're not very.
Don't burst the
nice.
bubble.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So,
we were the same with the 100 Club, weren't we? When we played the 100 Club.
Yeah. I played the 100 Club. Oh. Don't go in the toilets.
I think the 100 Club, that's actually my favourite venue. And when I first started playing there, which was about 1990, I think, they didn't even have a dressing room. It was a corridor out back.
Really?
Put their coats, and all night you'd be out there trying to get changed, and people would be coming back and hanging up their coats next to you and stuff like that. And the sound man at the time would just be sat there constantly smoking weed.
I don't think that's changed.
Yeah, pretty chill, didn't he?
No. Those sound guys are very, very clean living now. They really, yeah. And it was. Oh God, yeah. You just think for such a prestigious venue, it was just a corridor with coats and beer barrels, and that was it. And it was so it's really come up in the world. But yeah,
I must admit, after a while, when we were playing there, we absolutely fell in love with the place. I will say that though.
Oh yeah, no, and because all that sort of makes it cool. Like we love like Spit and Sawdust, proper rock pubs.
Absolutely,
so it's kind of like that, and it's like proper venue. Like
totally.
I think it's just the most honest place, and it's got a proper vibe, and there's just so much history built into the walls. And I mean, it's the sweat of 40 years is still on the ceiling. It's just it's
you can smell it.
Yeah. I've often tasted it as it dripped back down to my beer. I absolutely love that place. It is my favourite place, my favourite venue in the world. I think it's, but it does seem that as you go further and further on through venues, that the crappier they get out back. It's all very glitzy and glamorous out front. Well, apart from the Under Club, which is just a down to earth, proper rootsy place. But places like Shepherd's Bush Empire, I remember thinking, oh, this is a bit crap. Anyway, on that note, I'd like to finish up always with a special question, and this is going to be this is a big one, and I want you to imagine, if you can, it's in the future. We're in the future, however many years, I don't know, a few years in the future, and the pandemic is over. Okay, so that's all great. Everybody's well and fit, and it's brilliant. Everyone's had their jabs, their inoculations and all that sort of thing, vaccinations. But suddenly on the news comes a report about a massive meteorite that's heading towards Earth, and it's like the size of pre-Earth. It's going to completely annihilate the Earth.
This is really cheeky.
We've got. I know,
after COVID's all gone, we're all going to get killed.
You're doomed.
Try and make you feel thankful for what you've got now,
Okay.
But anyway, so this meteorite's going to hit in 3 days' time, right? So, in the future, there's a president of the world president. Not Donald Trump, no one likes.
I was going to say, please.
Quite a sensible chap or chapess, whoever. And the world president comes on the phone, phones you guys up, and says, "Look, you've heard about this meteorite, right? We want to go out with a big, massive party, and we want you guys to come and play at the party, okay?" And he says, the president says to you, "You can have any band backing you up, anyone in your band to play, anyone. It's at everything's at your disposal." What I want to know is who's going to be in that band working with you guys, and what song would you play as the last song that the world ever gets to hear?
Are they dead or alive, these people in the band?
Well, it's in the future, so you can have holograms. So there's
nice.
Oh, true.
So you can have anybody, really. So, yeah.
We'd have to have Elvis.
Yeah.
To start with.
Yeah.
He might still
Jimi
be
Hendrix.
Yeah, Jimi
Eric
Hendrix.
Clapton.
/
John Lee Hooker. It's going to be a big band.
Paul Rogers.
Freddie Mercury.
Yes, Freddie Mercury.
Bonnie Raitt.
Yeah.
Roy Orbison.
Adam Lambert.
Yeah. There's just so many people. There's so many people in this band. Ginger Baker.
Yeah.
Who else?
I don't know if we could be that precise about who.
No, I don't know.
We'd have to have Adam though on drums.
Yeah. Oh, well. All right. Buy Ginger Baker then.
The thing, I mean, if you put that many guitarists in the same room, it's obviously going to be a punch up as well.
Yeah, you think so? Yeah.
And what song would it be? What would you pick as the last song that anybody ever got to hear?
Would have to be cheery, wouldn't it?
Something like Agadoo or something like that.
Macarena.
My Way.
What would it? We Fly Free.
We Fly Free.
Oh, it'd have to be We Fly Free.
That's it. One of ours.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it might just be that last push to get that last CD sale. You can just by the way, the CD's available.
For 3 days only.
Yeah. That sounds great. I with a band like that, though, I always say to people, they often come up with these great lineups, and I would say, if I was in that band, I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd just have to sit down and watch them do it, because I wouldn't want to be doing my own thing. I'd be wanting to sit watching those guys, It's, I think if the president phoned me up and said, "Can you put a band together?" I'd put a band together and go and sit down and watch them. I'd go, there you go.
That's not a bad idea, that.
Yeah, have yourself a nice big beer and wait for the rock to hit us. I think that would be
exactly. Yeah.
It's been absolutely lovely talking to you guys. I'm wishing you lots and lots of success for 2021, maybe 2022, 2023. Whenever we get a chance to go out and do gigs again and all that, I hope it goes great for you guys. And hopefully,
cheers, buddy.
I'll see you on the road somewhere. You never know, eh? If you're ever back on the road. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Bye.
So if you've enjoyed this, why not like and subscribe to the Blues Podcast right now? All right?